Everybody. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about Excel 5. And again, we're looking at real students here, looking at real predictions, real grades. Of course, these are anonymous because it's not okay to talk about students' grades publicly, but I want to continue to help you see how mathematics can be used to talk about things that you care about. And since you're in school, you care about doing well. The idea of, kind of looking forward and making predictions and thinking, how am I going to do? I think that's a valuable skill. Now, the people who did this were the same as you when you did Excel 0 on day 1 or day 2. You didn't know much about how the course was going to go or what was going to be hard. So those predictions aren't super valuable. But anyways, we have their predictions and their final results. The first instruction here, of course, you should be looking at the instructions and reading carefully. Fill out the table, empty table on the right, columns L and M. Okay, so I need to fill out this column and this column for each student. Now, I could do this by site and just say, okay, actual grade was a 63.75. This might be good to kind of narrow down this column here. I can see these. So I could type in 63.75 and the predicted grade was a 90. And I could go on to quizzes. 93 was the actual grade and a 92 was the predicted grade. But every time I type, there's a chance that I'm going to make a mistake. So there's a better way to do that in Excel. We learned about it in Excel 1, it's called a cell reference. What we do is we just say equals, and then we grab this cell here. So equals G2, boom. Equals D2, boom. Okay. And in fact, hey, autofill is at play here because we learned about that in Excel 4. You can click on this cell, go to the bottom right corner, click and drag down, and it should work all the way down to there. Now, it's not going to work down to there because that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the grade for student 2 for assignments, homework, and logbook. So that I'm going to have to start over again at that point. But it did save me quite a bit of time in terms of typing. And you can see that these are exactly the same as these numbers. If you go one by one and look at them, they're exactly the same. So that's a little hint to speed you up to get all those numbers filled in. The next thing you're going to do is calculate absolute change and relative change. Okay, so remember absolute change is new minus old. In the instructions here, it says use predicted as new and actual as old. Now, again, you could be doing this on a calculator, but you shouldn't be. You should be using Excel. Equals new predicted minus old, which is the actual. Okay, so I got 26 there. Now notice that this should not have given me 26. This is actually a rounded number. If I want to see more decimals, then I just need to press this little button here with this is extra decimals. This is fewer decimal places. Okay, and then the relative change, remember relative change is new minus old divided by old. The most common mistake I see is when people do this, new minus old divided by old. And this number, I don't know if it already leaps out as a problem. Remember, we turn these into percentages. This number definitely should look like a problem. 8,900% should not be the relative change in the situation. So there's two ways to solve it. One is with parentheses. So we could say, hey, make sure we do the subtraction first. New minus old divided by old. That's one answer. And the other option is to just take the absolute change, because remember, that is new minus old, and divide it by the old value. Either way, we end up with 41%. And again, once you've done it right once, autofill, and you should be able to do it right for all of these. And you don't have to pause this time because it's just referencing what's in L and M. So once these are all set up correctly, you're ready to go. That's it for the Excel part. In this part, you got to think a little bit about, you're going to see some negative values and some positive values in here. So you want to think about, how did something turn up to be positive and how did something turn up to be negative? And what does that say about the actual grade and the predicted grade? And then, so it says give a few examples. So make sure that you don't just say, this is why it's negative and this is why it's positive, but say, this is why it's negative. Let me give you an example. Student 3, blah, 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 blah. Then what student did best in terms of prediction? Now, there's a lot of ways that you can answer that question. So you don't have to feel like there's just one right way to do that. You can look at the numbers in here, the absolute change and the relative change. You could focus more on the actual predicted final grade versus the actual letter grade and think about it that way. So however you do it, remember that you want to try to quantify. So try to bring a number into that part of it to answer that question. All right. Make sure you're watching the videos. If you got a typo there, I got to fix that. If you have problems, of course, text me. But the first thing I'm going to want to know is, did you actually watch the video? So anyways, if you're this far into the video, you watch the video. Good for you. All right. I'll talk to you later.